Hey, I'm Mark Goodman.
And I'm Alan Light.
On today's podcast, in celebration of International Guitar Month, Pete Townsend of The Who will join us.
Pete went deep with us into his relationship with the guitar and with music in general, the new Broadway version of Tommy. He clarified the status and the future of The Who, and much, much more.
Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light, the only music podcast that matters. Get it on Pandora, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Chris Hahn, the Aggressive Progressive. Check out a new episode of the Aggressive Progressive podcast every Tuesday. You know, the election is heating up just as the year is winding down. Stick with me. I'll tell you the truth as I see it. Download the Aggressive Progressive on Pandora or wherever you get your podcasts.
Detroit MC, Detroit Doctor, Lazarus. Welcome to New York and welcome to the Library with Tim Einenkel. Thanks for being here again, man.
Hey, man, it's a pleasure being on with you. I was on with you before in the past, man, but, you know, this is in the flesh, so it's different.
Got the flag of the whole world strapped onto my armory. So hang me, sit down me, bomb me, but you honor me. Enemies on me, but my fans calling me. The rise of falling kingdom, to hear the rise of a kingdom whose depiction.
So let's start from why you are here. Why are you in New York City, away from practicing medicine? What brings you to New York?
Man, well, I've been on tour with the Genius, with the GZA, man. We just rocked a crazy show in Detroit, man. We out here at the Blue Note Jazz Club, you know what I'm saying? So I'm just with the team, with the squad, and just throwing it down, man, and representing real hip-hop. You know, as you know, we came off the, 25-year anniversary of the 36 Chambers tour with the Wu-Tang Clan, and, you know, we was in 20-plus cities around the world, and that's been an incredible experience for an MC such as myself.
What was that, when you got that call to be on that tour, but also even to continue with GZA now, what was that conversation like, and like, what was your first reaction when they asked you if you could get on tour with them?
Right. I mean, it started, well, my partner, Divine 7I, who's Ghostface Killer's cousin, and GZA's cousin, he, me and him started opening up for Ghostface, because I got a record with Ghostface Killer called Decapitation Chamber that we dropped in 2018.
Bounty coming for your head, beware the danger. You can lose your head in the company of a guillotine. Ghost by coastal, coke in the Philippines, blood money suitcase,
and as soon as that dropped, then we started getting on the road with Ghostface, and we did a bunch of shows with him. And then we got in touch with the show manager of the Wu-Tang Clan, saw our work ethic and what we were doing, and then it got us into the Wu-Tang Clan tours, and it started in I think Washington D.C. was the first show that I opened up for the whole Wu-Tang. So that's when I'm in front of like 10 to 20,000 people. So it was a monumental moment for me when that happened. But when I got word that I was opening up for the Wu-Tang for the first time, like, I was floored, man. It was like, it's my favorite rap group of all time.
I want to talk about the tour, but I also want to talk about the track with Ghostface. And I remember the visuals going out for the video. I remember all that stuff. We're in a day where, you don't have like video. MTV is now playing hip hop video. Like whatever, or you don't have a video music box. What for you? What is the importance of actually having a video to accompany the track?
I mean, I feel nowadays having a video to accompany a track is more important than it was in the past, because I feel like in the past people were more keen on buying records and going to the CD store to get your music and things like that. Nowadays, I feel like a lot of social media is about visuals. So it's like if you put an audio out there, unless you're like in the top 5, most popular artists, it's very difficult for your audio to spin around and get the proper rotation that it needs to get, because everybody's making music now. So your music, you're competing with a billion other artists on these platforms. They all have the same platforms that you have now.
Right,
for the Spotify, the Apple, everybody's putting their music on these platforms. So what's going to make your song stand out? So the way things have been going viral, which is now the new term that's being used for music that's being shared tremendously, it's the visual that accompanies it. Even if you look at some of the songs, like look at the song that won the Grammy Award, that This Is America record that came out. I mean, if you just listen to that audio, would it have gone viral by itself? It's the way the visual was that made a song as popular as it got. So I feel like a visual nowadays is very important to accompany the record.
You were on tour with the Wu-Tang, you're on tour with the GZA now. What has kind of been that big learning experience for you in terms of like how you used to approach your live show now to kind of how you are starting to develop your new live show? Man,
a tremendous change, man. Tremendous change and upgrade, because I feel like when I first started, like because the Wu, every time they did a show, I watched it every time. Like, it wasn't like I just did my show and I bounced or something. Like, I would study and I watched all the artists that were on stage, and I would just study the way that they were getting the crowd's reactions and responses. And I feel like it was just studying that allowed me to get more comfortable on stage with doing similar type of patterns on stage to get the crowd to react a certain way. And I feel like, as a trial and error kind of experiment, like going on my set the next time, I'm like, yo, the Wu, I remember they was doing something like this with the crowd. Let me try something along those lines, and it worked. And I was like, okay. So it's like you learn a lot of tricks, watching and studying the legends.
How do you, you just mentioned, you obviously mentioned Wu is one of your favorite group of all time, right? How do you, this is obviously, I'm not an artist, but how do you like not kind of freak the fuck out when when you're next to them, when you're on stage with them, and like, how do you stay calm, I guess, throughout this whole experience? Yeah, I mean, it's just, you build bonds and relationships, man. And obviously, when I first met them, I had that, it was crazy, you know what I'm saying? But as you get to know them as people, man, and to start, having more of a mentor relationship with these guys, then it just allows that bonding to occur. Like, right now with Ghostface Killer, like it's just that bond. Like, he sees my hunger, he sees my drive, and he respects the what I'm bringing to hip hop, and it's just amazing to see that coming from like my favorite MCs. Yeah, I want to turn to some of your music. On the track Jug of Choice, you pulled a legend out of the sky and did a track with him. Who's the legend you're referring to here, and what has been his impact on you? Sure. The legend that I speak of on that song is it's a Pakistani singer by the name of Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan, and he was real big. His music actually popped up in a lot of American movies and things like that too. But it was just one of those artists that, like, I remember, my dad used to listen to. It just represent the culture back home. So it was just one of those things, and I'm representing for a lot of people, man, overseas and Pakistan and India, who don't have a voice in hip hop, man. And this is I try to take a lot of inspiration from the culture and putting it into hip hop as well. And that's something that they really appreciated when I did that. That song actually did very well when it came out for me. It actually helped to inspire a lot of the mainstream artists that are rapping over there in those countries right now.
Till I blasted him, pulled the legend out from the sky and did a track with him. What I noticed when I was listening to a lot of your music, I don't know if we're getting specifics, but you reference a lot of, and it's not like explaining what's happening, but you reference a lot of, I think, international crisis, like that's happening. Well, why do you do that? Like, what's the importance of, even if it's not like explaining what's happening, but it's actually you just do those little references here and there and kind of, add something. I think that's a staple of who I am, man. I think, my whole life I've always been told, like, you have to fit yourself in a box. Like, whenever you see a person, whenever I see a human being, like, I'm supposed to think of them as 5 or 6 other things before I can think of them as another human being standing next to me. So, whenever I see somebody, I always look at them as a human first. And I feel like that's something that I really want to bring out with my music and show that, I stand for the world and we're one people. And that's a message that I've, it's my belief. I feel like regardless of what your background is, what your ethnicity is, what your beliefs are, like, at the end of the day, like, we all bleed the same, we all breathe the same. So the bottom line is, like, you're a brother to me. The track Underdog featuring Royce the 5'9", I really like the track because it also reminds me of a track by the Crew called Underdogs, and I think it's a newer version of it, right? Why are you the underdog here? I feel like I'm forever the underdog, man, because I feel like no matter what I do, like, I personally feel like I don't get the credit, what I'm saying, that I'm supposed to get. And I hear people make excuses about, because he's a physician,
that he doesn't deserve X, Y, and Z in hip hop. Oh, because of his ethnicity, he doesn't deserve to be standing in these positions or standing in the hip hop culture and things like that. So I've always been kind of looked at as, you're not good enough for this, man. You don't belong here, those kind of things. And just having that mentality on every track that I get on, it allows me to prevail, because I know that, like, when I jump on a mic and when I spit the bars, it's like, I don't care who you are or what planet you're from, you can't deny that.
Before I ask you about Detroit, I want to ask you, when you have those people kind of telling you you can't do this, you shouldn't do this, and you can, and you obviously are, right? But what was that one moment for you, maybe that one lyric that you wrote that said, I'm good, like I deserve to be on this stage?
Right. I mean, it could probably be that Underdog record, man. It could probably be when I spit the bars on there about, just kind of being this one man, just kind of being pressed down and standing up from that and conquering. I'm the slave who slays his masters. I'm the prey who preys on predators. You know what I'm saying? I'm the prey, like I'm the guy that the lion's supposed to come and eat, but I turned around and ate the lion.
Nice.
So what does that make me?
That's dope. You talk about Detroit. You obviously, and we talked about this earlier, but we were talking about this before the interview. But Eminem obviously comes to mind, right? But for you, was there that MC that, like, maybe no one knows about, like MC's MC in Detroit, that really had an impact on shaping your career or your lyricism?
I mean, the MCs in Detroit are pretty solid. Eminem and Royce definitely, and very celebrated. Elzai is another one from Slum Village that I've always listened to. Black Milk, those artists. But I feel like those guys are pretty well celebrated. I can't really think of too many people that aren't put on a pedestal of some sort, especially in Detroit.
Right.
But yeah, definitely Em and Royce had the biggest effect. And so, and they definitely get their flowers for that.
You obviously speak more than one language. Can you tell us what's the other language besides English?
I speak in Urdu, and which is also similar to Hindi, and then bits of Punjabi as well.
And you also spit in 2 languages as well, which is incredible. And then I hear it, I'm like, I hope he's not saying some crazy shit that I'm like,
I probably am. Yeah, and I think you might even heard me spit a little Spanish on this new one.
Oh, really? Yeah. What are the challenges when you're spitting? When you're going from English, when you're spitting 2 languages? I know sometimes there's also phrases that don't come across the same way as if you said them in English or a different language.
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge. I definitely try to get other people, natives, to listen to it too, because sometimes I'll put bars together, and then it's different when you're communicating, when you're speaking, and then when you're actually writing rhymes, because now you're getting into the literal aspect of things. And when I spit bars in another language, I usually have somebody listen to it. They might be like, "Yo, Laz, this change this or whatever," and I'll make some adjustments to it, but it's been working out.
You're from Detroit, but you're Pakistani descent. What is the hip hop scene like in Pakistan?
Man, it's flourishing. When I started rapping, I'm talking back early 2000, it didn't exist. It was non-existent. But it's like, every so often I go and make trips overseas, and it's like every time I go over there, hip hop is more and more prevalent. It's like, and I was shocked the last time I went over there. It's like every kid was listening to hip hop out there. I'm like, it wasn't like this before. So yeah, hip hop is steady growing all over that South Asian subcontinent.
What do they listen to? American hip hop, or they listen to
they listen to a lot of their own, like they have their own artists who I collaborate with as well. But they listen to a lot of American. So everyone knows 50 Cent, Eminem, Snoop. Everybody knows those guys out there.
What's the what's the conversation that they're having in hip hop? Like, what is the main, obviously we have the commercial stuff here,
right.
Social stuff.
They had a movie come out last year. It's called Gully Boy. It was a kind of like an 8 Mile style story about one of the people just kind of struggling and using hip hop as a way to kind of get them through a struggle. So a lot of people start talking about that in their conversations. So there's a lot of, but you know, like the way that hip hop is over there right now, it's a lot of mainstream. It's like associated with their Bollywood movie industry. So a lot of it is just kind of geared towards their movies, and it's not always a reflection of what real like hip hop music is over here. You know what I'm saying? When you look at the core, the essence of what hip hop is, and that's something I'm trying to help address. You know, I'm trying to put real hip hop music together and show them that this is what hip hop is. You know what I'm saying? This is what hip hop means.
You have a new track out. It's about to be out. Break the Walls. Can you talk about the track? Because you talk about how walls separate us, divide us as people, as countries.
Right.
Why this track now? What inspired it?
I mean, the song, it wasn't originally intended to be about this, but as I was writing the rhyme, it's like my producer that made this track, his name is Dr. Zeus. He's from the UK. So I was working with him, and he just put the beat on, and I just started like freestyling to it. And while I was freestyling to this beat, out of nowhere, I just came up with the line, countries want to build walls and I break them down. It was just part of the line. It was just part of the rhyme. Like, it was not supposed to be the concept of the record or anything. I was freestyling. But then he stopped the session, and he was like, yo, say that again. And I said it like 2-3 times. He's like, yo, that's the hook. And so once that became the narrative for the song, then I restructured the song around that concept. And I feel like that concept is more relevant now than ever. Because of what's going on with the election and with Donald Trump, obviously, building this or claiming to want to build this wall, against Mexico and things like that. But it's like, I don't even mention him on the record. I feel like it's a record that is universal and it can span to any place of the earth, because ultimately I feel like, when you're looking at somebody, like even as an example, like India and Pakistan, right? So it's people, you're talking about people a mile away from each other that look the same, talk the same, eat the same. Everything is 99.9% the same, even the same religion. But they're born and raised to have hate for the other, because at the end of the day, like this line that's here makes you Pakistani or makes me Indian and vice versa. So now it's like I'm told my whole life that I'm not supposed to like you. Right. And I feel like that, that's just one example of a million. And the purpose of my song, Break the Walls, is to show that, these barriers that have been created between us, they don't need to exist. You know what I'm saying? Learn about that person first before you judge that person. And not only people, not just countries, but I feel like even barriers that people have in what they can accomplish in their own life. Because my whole life, me personally, my own example is that people have always told me that I can't be a physician and a hip hop artist at the same time. So that's a wall. Right. And I had to break that wall just to prove that I could do that. So, and I feel like those kind of obstacles are in front of all people. Like, don't put limits in front of what your goals are, or what you want to accomplish, because you can break those walls. You're
obviously a physician. You're on tour. When do you find time to write down anything when it comes to music?
Man, it's just like, the rhymes just come to me sporadically, man. So it's like I might be seeing a patient and I might have a concept. I'm like, yo, Laz, focus on the patient right now, but on your lunch break, jot that stuff down. So, it's pretty random, man. I just think of rhymes all the time, man. So anytime I think of something dope, I try to write it down or just remember it and use it for later.
So there's no, I know, like when I had a conversation with Crooked, right? He talked about how he would have to drive, like his studio is like 2 hours away or something, and he would have to drive to start writing. So you don't have like a set place or time where... Nah,
man, I usually just jump in my car. I jump in my whip, and I'm just like, sometimes I need like if it's a beat that I have in mind or something I'm writing to, I just need to get in a quiet space where I can just reflect on it, and then the rhymes just start to come. And that's usually my process. I mean, if it's in the studio, it's in the studio, but it doesn't have to be. It could just be anywhere, where I'm just private and comfortable.
This is a question I probably should ask you in the beginning, but why did you choose rap to be your kind of artistic form of expression? Like, what was it about it that said to you, this is this is what I want to do?
It was just the realest. It was just the realest form of expression. Like growing up, listening to the rap that I came up listening to, like that was the rawest form of communication that I've ever heard. Like, you know, I ain't never heard no teacher, no parent, you know what I'm saying, no preacher, nobody ever speak to me the way the MCs was speaking to me. Because when I heard the MCs, I had to listen. Like I was rebellious, but no matter what that, like I'm tuning in. When you telling me about what you experienced in your life, like I'm listening to you, because it's coming, like I can feel it. So just taking that energy and expressing my own pain through it, it just kind of spawned the Lazarus.
And then where does the medicine passion come from?
It's a combination of things. You know, obviously, you know, the way I was brought up, and I feel like the way a lot of people of my ethnicity are brought up, you're kind of structured in a way that like you want to excel in school, you got to do well, because you know my father, you know, he came to America with nothing, like a nickel in his pocket. So he's like, look, my success is gonna be through my kids. So and he's always saying like, I want you to be a doctor. Like that was his dream, like for that to happen, because to him it's like there's no other way for somebody like me of my ethnicity to make it in America. And there's people that, you know, when you study, you get through this, you can become that, you become successful. But then along the road, you know, I had experiences, deaths that happened, uncle, grandmother passing away, and I'm, you know, just kind of just sitting there thinking and pondering about the human body. So that's also been a passion of mine. It's just so happened that I'm studying and excelling in my classes to become a physician, but at the same time it's like I love putting rhymes together. So now I'm conflicted, like what do I do?
Who was your for rhyming, who was your major kind of support system?
Like who'd I listen to?
No, I mean, who did you like? Who when you first said I wanted to do this? Who were you bouncing ideas off of, or who were you hoping?
Yeah, I had a couple of my homies, man. When I was in high school, they was doing the same thing as me. So I would go to one of my friends. His name was Ben. I used to go to his house, and we used to go in the basement and just start writing rhymes. And that was just kind of like a hobby. Like we play basketball, and then we go in the basement and start writing rhymes. So it was that, and then I had my older brother. You know what I'm saying? Me and him, we were always like listening to all the illest hip hop, and we always prided ourselves on, like, you know, knowing what real hip hop was against all the other stuff that was coming out. So so definitely, you know, I had a few friends and my brother.
Yes. Last question. You know, you were on tour with Wu. You're now on tour with GZA. If you had a lyric, your own lyric, that kind of sums up where you are kind of in your career or as an artist, what would that lyric be?
Yeah, so I would say, man, the first rhyme of Break the Walls, you know, I say, welcome to my era, declare a revolution from your illusion, we're looking at the mirror. Like, it's my time, it's my era. So all this falsification and nonsense that you're seeing right now, I'm the ruler, the leader, mumble rapper eater.
Nice. Detroit MC Lazarus, as always, man, thank you so much for being live with tonight.
Thank you very much, man.
Cool.
Yeah, make sure you guys catch me on Instagram at LAZ Detroit. Look out for my new single, Break the Walls. South America, Wu-Tang, we coming soon, April. It's going down. Laz Army.
When are you gonna go back to being a doctor?
Tomorrow. Tomorrow. For real. All right.
Represent for every nation that I'm taking around. Countries wanna build walls and I break them down. Countries wanna build walls and I break them down. Countries wanna build walls and I break them down. Countries wanna build walls and I break them down.
People wanna build walls and I break them down. People wanna build walls and I break them down. People wanna build walls and I break them down. People wanna build walls
and I break them. Yo, wake up in Africa, see the lions and the zebras, get a visa to Indonesia, breathe the air of peace, and I hit up Rome next and put my statue next to Caesar. Stimulate your brain like I'm an epileptic Caesar. Spitting the flow, get in my zone, a single percentage of any competitor sit in my throne, picking a bone with anyone trying to edit me, send to me, leave it alone, switch up the tone, create a scheme, earn money as a rapper, my day job, your parents' dream. I break the walls of expectation, empower the world with every destination, as we are prisoners of law and order, segregating us a land like it's the ocean waters, patrolling us in all the borders. Countries wanna build walls and I break them down. Countries wanna build walls and I break them down.
Hey, I'm Mark Goodman.
And I'm Alan Light.
On today's podcast, in celebration of International Guitar Month, Pete Townsend of The Who will join us.
Pete went deep with us into his relationship with the guitar and with music in general. The new Broadway version of Tommy. He clarified the status and the future of The Who and much, much more.
Sound Up with Mark Goodman and Alan Light, the only music podcast that matters. Get it on Pandora, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm Chris Hahn, the Aggressive Progressive. Check out a new episode of the Aggressive Progressive podcast every Tuesday. You know, the election is heating up just as the year is winding down. Stick with me. I'll tell you the truth as I see it. Download the Aggressive Progressive on Pandora or wherever you get your podcasts.